So you've got an understanding of astrology. You know the houses and the signs and the planets, but you struggle to metabolize and understand the aspects. Use this as a cheat sheet. I'm Sukboy, you're awesome. This is Aspects in Astrology. Context is everything. This is not a deep dive into aspects. Maybe I'll do that down the line. This is more of a guide you can reference when you need a refresher. Let's break it down. First up, the conjunction. This is one of the most straightforward aspects you're going to find in any given natal or birth chart. Now here, we've got Venus at 29 degrees. We have Neptune at 28 degrees. We're looking for conjunctions to be within a 5 to 10 degree orb. So in this case, we've got a 1 degree orb, 28 and 29 degrees. Needless to say, and this goes for all aspects really, the closer they are in degree, the more strengthened and more relevant the themes of this conjunction, or any aspect for that matter, become. Additionally, if you're looking at conjunctions between fixed stars, dwarf planets, or asteroids, for example, we're not really working with a 5 to 10 degree orb. You're going to have to narrow that margin to a 2 degree or exact orb. So they need to be within 2 degrees or on the same degree to really have that influence or that prominence in the chart that is notable. The long and short of a conjunction is that both planetary bodies have melded as one. They are sharing energetics. You want to look at the themes and behaviors of one planet, the themes and behaviors of the other planet. You want to synthesize both planets involved. Now, personally, I approach aspects with a psychological nature. So the idea or the intention of a conjunction is to integrate both of these energetics so they can collaborate together. Next up, let's cover squares. Now, this is Cancer, Mars in retrograde at 19 degrees with a square down to the moon at 21 degrees in Aries. Now again, this is a 2 degree orb that is going to be noticeable. Context is everything. Now, most of the time, not all of the time, but 90% of the time, let's say, squares are going to occur within a modality. In this case, it's between Cancer and Aries, and they share the modality of cardinal. In other words, this is a cardinal square. Think about squares like two aspects of your psyche that are at odds with one another. They're not traveling in the same direction. For many of us, a 90 degrees is a turning point in our life. We're going to need to address this. It can often cause anxiety or stress or question the path we're on because we need to make a turn to adjust or align with the energetics in our psyche. Now, the quintessential astrologist is going to say that a square is a bad aspect, and I quote, but ask yourself, when we make adjustments to internal struggles, is that not growth? So growth is positive, right? So squares aren't always bad. They always ask you to grow in some way though. Regardless, a square is most commonly going to be an internal struggle where you need to find some kind of common ground between two objectives or two energetics that are at odds with one another. Next up, let's look at the opposition. This is a 180 degree angle. We have Mars in Leo at 5 degrees, Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees. Again, that's a 2 degree orb. This will be very noticeable. In an opposition, we have two planets completely at odds with one another. Both planets represent completely opposite sides of the zodiac, therefore their energetics are clashing. Now, again, a lot of astrologers are going to say this is a bad aspect to find in your natal or birth chart. And sure, they are extremely challenging. They are asking you to grow. So ask yourself, is growth good or bad? I'll leave that with you. Oppositions can be fairly noticeable, especially for people that get to know you in your life. And people in your life at some stage will probably comment on a contradictory aspect of your own character, and that usually highlights or brings attention to an opposition. Now, these oppositions are going to ask you to find some kind of balance, negotiate, potentially with yourself, another person, another event, however this opposition occurs. Acknowledge that people have opposing views. Acknowledge that even within your psyche, you might have opposing views, and granting that recognition towards both aspects of your character. I'd really like to keep these videos short and sweet, so this was part 1. We covered the conjunction, the square, and the opposition. Drop some knowledge. Do you have any of these aspects? Maybe I can do a video response if you have any questions. Hope that helps. Okay, bye.